I do this, and I know other people do this, where we're ungrateful for things that didn't happen as opposed to grateful for what did happen. And so I just look at every day as a gift for me to show up, to give and serve, and to experience this incredible life.
Well, I guess we can ring the bell. School's in. The School of Greatness. Lewis Howes. Great to meet you.
Great to meet you, man.
Hopefully this backdrop does it justice. Welcome to Vancouver.
Thank you. It's beautiful. I hear it's usually not this sunny, but it's really nice today.
I'll start off by saying respect for the space you have created.
Thanks, man.
And this notion of greatness, the interesting thing about it is that it is so subjective of what the interpretation is for everybody. So I'm going to put this on you out of the gate, the idea of greatness. How do you even begin to define this concept?
It's a question I ask everyone that I interview at the end of every episode. What's your definition? Because everyone's got their own definition. And for me, in this moment of time, it's discovering and developing our unique gifts and talents that we're born with to pursue our dreams and make an impact on the maximum number of people around us in that pursuit. In my opinion, that's greatness right now. So that could be a mom, that could be a dad, it could be an individual going after curing cancer, it could be anything. It's trying to have the best family, the best relationship, whatever it means to you. I think as long as you're pursuing your dream and impacting the people around you in a positive way, that's greatness.
As you describe that, there's immense clarity.
Yes.
That's not an easy point to get to.
Yeah.
How do you and when did you reach that point where you thought, School of Greatness, this is what it means to me, this is where I'm going to make my impact?
It wasn't until a couple of years ago, really. I was always driven by success, making money, accomplishments. My whole life was goal-oriented and achievement-oriented. And I was really good at achieving my goals. I would set the goal, I would go out there and take a lot of action and I'd make it happen. I was great at it. But it left me feeling unfulfilled, like something was missing, something was empty inside. I remember when I achieved my first big dream to be an All-American athlete in college, and it happened. A few minutes later, I was mad at myself. I was mad at the world. I was frustrated. And I was like, why am I so angry? The dream I've had since I was 5 years old is now, it's happened. 15 years of my life focused on this one thing has achieved. Why am I unhappy? And I realized that I was doing it for certain reasons that weren't to impact people in a positive way. It was more so to prove people wrong. And I was coming from a place of how can I show the bully in third grade who didn't pick me on the team, the guy who said this about me, the kid who made fun of me, how can I prove them wrong that I'm gonna be something in my life? And it was a huge awakening. And I didn't realize this until about a few years ago. So then I didn't realize it. I kept achieving more. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a bigger dream. And I went after that and I achieved it. I'm gonna make a lot of money. I did that and I was like, why am I unhappy? And I realized a few years ago, I went through an experience where I learned all this and became aware that, I was doing it for selfish reasons and I wasn't doing it to give. And I wasn't being generous with my love, my connection, my time, my money, anything. I wasn't being as generous as I could be. And when I learned this, I was like, wow, I'm coming from a place of I need to win and everyone else needs to lose in order for me to be happy. And I never understood this concept until about 2 or 3 years ago of win-win. I was like, it didn't make sense to me. It was like, no, I need to win, and there's a winner and a loser. That means there's a winner in a relationship. My girlfriend needs to lose because I need to be right. My family needs to lose because I need to be right. They need to be wrong. In sports, I need to win. That means there's got to be a loser. In business, I need to win, so I'm going to make sure that the deal isn't good for the other person as well. And it was crazy that I lived this way, but I never understood and never learned this concept of no, you can win, but you can make everyone else win around you and bring everyone up. And when I learned that, it just blew my mind of what was possible to create in the world coming from a place of impact and inspiration as opposed to proving people wrong and selfish reasons.
What allowed you to see it? What was the moment? What was the experience?
I did a experiential workshop that was really in your face and kind of like aggressive, just breaking down all the walls and barriers that hold you back from achieving your dreams and having love and fulfillment. And this experience just like confronted all of the conversations that I have, all the walls, everything that hold me back. And it was like this awakening. It was like this awareness. I was like, wow, okay. I got a lot of feedback from people during that time. They were like, you got a big ego, you're selfish, you're this, you're that. And I was like, really? I don't feel like I am, but I was being that way. And when I realized it and started being aware of it in every situation of my life, things started to shift. And I started coming from a place of impact and giving and service as opposed to just doing it for me so I look good. Now I'm still taking care of myself and serving myself in a big way. I don't think we should neglect ourselves and just give to everyone but not give to ourselves. Again, I think of everything from win-win now. How can I make sure I have time for myself, take care of my health, take care of my needs, but also give away as much as I can?
And you kind of outline this with the book, The School of
Yes.
Greatness. You talk about daily habits that really stand out. Out of all the habits that you've created to kind of move forward in this space, what do you think is the most important habit on a daily basis that keeps you in a healthy and positive mindset?
Self-love. I think not self-ego, but self-love. Because the conversation that I have with a lot of people in this world and people that email me constantly from the podcast, people don't take care of themselves enough. They have the negative conversations in their head constantly. And then they speak the conversation to someone else. Riaz, if you gave me a compliment and I said, no, that's not, it's not. If you said, you look great today, or you're wearing a nice shirt, or you smell good, or whatever. And I was like, no, this old thing, no, I don't look that good, and I don't receive it. I'm constantly saying, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough in my mind and out into the world. And that is going to bring a negative ripple effect to the people around you. But when I say, yes, I matter, I'm enough, in a non-egotistical way, but I matter. I was born here for a reason. I'm enough. I believe in myself. I love myself. I accept myself for who I am, for where I'm at, and I'm going to continue to improve. I can be just as negative as the most negative person in the world if I want to be, if I choose to be. And I can be easily triggered to be angry or resentful. So I need those daily habits to continue to say, you know what, I'm enough. I love myself. I accept everything about my body, about my insecurities. I accept it all.
What's your greatest insecurity now?
It used to be that I wasn't smart enough. It used to be because I was always in the bottom of my class all through middle school and high school. And I went to a private boarding school when I was 14. And they would give us a ranking on our grade card. So I was always the bottom 4. I knew how many kids were in the class, and I was always in the bottom 4. So I never felt like my voice, like I was going to say anything intelligent. And I had a very low reading level. Like when I went to high school, I could hardly read. So every time the teacher would call upon me to stand and read from a book in front of class, it was the most intimidating, scary, nerve-wracking thing ever. It was like I'd rather die than read in front of a room because I couldn't read the words. And I just felt like I was so unintelligent. So for me, it was, the insecurity was like, am I enough? Am I smart enough? And it's not an insecurity anymore. I mean, I think it always pops up every now and then, our insecurities. I don't know if we ever fully let go of them, but I'm aware of it and I accept myself for where I'm at.
We got to send this clip to your teacher.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
His or her name?
Yeah, they never made me wrong, but they just would call them on every kid. So
I think you're doing all right.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
The School of Greatness podcast is something I've come to respect.
Thank you.
The insight that is continuously shared, and when you look at the habits of high-level performers,
yes.
What's a consistent habit you see with all of these people that you connect with for this idea of achieving greatness?
Well, there's 8 principles I cover, but the 2 main ones I think are really important are every great high performer has a clear, powerful vision. It's very purposeful. When I interview an Olympic gold medalist, they're not like, oh, I just want to go out and play my sport and hope I win. No, they have the clearest dream of winning the gold medal and standing on the stand with the gold medal and the national anthem being sung when they're up there. And they have been dreaming it and seeing it, and they know what they want. It's a clear vision and a clear purpose, and they know why. That's the first thing, clear vision. There's a lot of people that say, I don't know what I want. Well, you're going to get average results if you don't know what you want. So you got to get clear on that first. And then the last principle I talk about that I think the greatest leaders, the ones that people actually respect the most, they come from a place of service. And again, like I said, I was on the outside achieving great things. All my accomplishments were great. But on the inside, I didn't feel great. I didn't feel fulfilled. And it's because I wasn't living a life of service fully. Now, I was a loving guy. It wasn't like I was a bad guy. I loved people. I was fun. I connected with people. But I think there's a little shift of like coming from a place, how can I go for my dreams and serve in that pursuit of the dream at the same time? And if it's just a selfish reason, then it's not going to be fulfilling.
It's great service, and this question, what do you want, resonates. Because when I read your story about coming up, being broke, living on your sister's couch, I think it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
My brother Zane, who still, he works in this space as well, I was living on his air mattress.
Wow.
And I went traveling for a while and ended up in Pakistan and Muzaffarabad, and I saw this statement on a school that said, defeat never comes to any person until they accept it. And I remember thinking, I was unemployed in between jobs and I was really struggling. I had quit a job because I wasn't proud. You talk about greatness, I didn't think it was a good product.
Yeah.
And I remember coming home to Canada and staying on my brother's air mattress and him saying to me, okay, I get you're stressed, I get you're in debt now, but what do you want? And realizing, okay, what do I want to contribute? What do I want to be known for? And what do I want people to feel with the experience and the space I create? I think it is such a valuable question, so I appreciate you sharing that.
Of course.
When it comes to vision. And with your vision, this has become a massive reality with the followers and engagement that you have on School of Greatness. But there are so many people trying to get an idea out there, trying to get content. What allowed you to separate yourself from the pack and really gain traction with this idea?
With the podcast in general, you mean?
Yeah.
Or, we started about a little over 3 years ago. And I had the vision originally. It was just like, I have a great network of individuals, from athletes to entrepreneurs and just smart minds. My vision was to do something once a week to reinvent myself. I had created a course business before around social media, and I was just like, I want to do something that's inspiring. I want to do something that inspires me, but other people at the same time. And I said, okay, I'm going to be committed to this for 1 year. I'm going to do it every single week, and I'm just going to see how it goes. And I'm not going to worry about making money with it. I'm just going to invest and give and continue to get better at this. And I think what helped it grow was that vision and that purpose, that intention. As weird as that may sound, but I wasn't in it for the money. I wasn't in it like, I'm going to try to make money right away. I was just like, I'm in it to give and to serve and give back, but also to learn myself. So it was the consistency of doing it every single week. It was the quality of guest. It was the quality of production level. And I think it was also the quality of the promotion. It doesn't matter how much we love something or how great something is. If we're not able to become great at promoting our passion, then no one's going to know about it.
What was the best point of promotion that really helped it break through?
It's the consistent promotion. It's not like this one thing or like this trick. It's like, okay, I'm going to show up every single day to promote what I love. It's asking people to share it. It's just like the social media. It's everything. I mean, there's no trick. It's just like consistently putting it out there.
What was the hit single in terms of the interview? Because I think quality of guests really stands out. What was the breakthrough?
Yeah, I mean, there was a consistent growth, over time in the first couple of years. And then I interviewed Tony Robbins a little over a year ago.
How do you get Tony Robbins' attention?
Yeah.
I get that that's the breakthrough.
Yeah.
But how do you access that?
Timing. It's the first book he'd written in 10 years. And so he was putting out a new book, and he wanted to get a lot of attention and get it out there. And I saw that he was doing a couple podcasts, some of the bigger podcasts. And somehow, someone on his team, I had heard, a friend of mine was working on his marketing side for his team to help them get on podcasts. And I reached out to him. I said, listen, I don't care what it takes. You got to set me up for an interview with him, because this is the chance to connect with him and have an hour of my time with him. Because he doesn't do this ever, unless he's promoting something. And it took about like 8 weeks for them to make it happen. And I was just on this guy. I said, you got to make it happen. I'll fly anywhere. I'll do anything, whatever it takes. Because he was someone I really wanted early on to be on the podcast. And I was like, if I don't get this now, he may never want to do an interview until the next book, which may be 10 more years. So we did that, and it took off. Yeah, I mean, my traffic doubled after that interview for whatever reason. And I spent 6 weeks researching, watching every other interview. I mean, I did my homework. And I said, he wasn't saying anything new on any interview. He was saying the same thing over and over, same canned answer, like a press tour. And I was just like, I got to break the cycle. I got to get him off and talking about things he's never said before. So that was my intention going in. And I got them off. I mean, I got them off big time. And
How'd you break the cycle?
you know, I think a lot of it has had to do with the preparation, and it was my way of being, I believe. Which I mean by that, it was my energy, it was my ability to connect with him before the interview, and I think it was the question I asked him beforehand. And I said, is there anything off limits for this interview? And he was like, absolutely not. And I said, then do I have permission to go anywhere and everywhere to make this the most powerful episode you've ever done? And he said, absolutely. So he originally went into, let me pause there.
It's like you just won the Stanley Cup with that question. Going off. This is what happens when you film down by the water.
Exactly.
I was ready to cheer for that. Such a great way to break that realm and create transparency.
Yeah, so I think it's being intentional about it. And going into an interview, for me, I'm always with the mindset of how can I make this the best interview I've ever done, and how can I make this the best interview they've ever given, right, or been a part of. And then asking them and telling them, this is my intention. Let's create something magical together. Let's serve the people who are watching or listening in a powerful way.
And now you're posting photos on a private jet.
Yeah, and so I got him again. Yeah. So a week ago, he came out with a year later, they came out with a paperback version, and then they reached out to me and they said, hey, we want to come back on the show, because
they reached out to you.
They reached out to me and said, hey, can we come to your studio and film? Wow. And then the day before, they were like, well, Tony's actually going to be in a rush tomorrow. Can you just do it on his private jet, because he's got to fly somewhere right afterwards? So I was like, I kind of wanted him to come to me, but I was like, of course, I'll come to his jet.
This is like, let me check my schedule. I don't want to his private jet.
Exactly. Yeah, so, and that's taken off. That came out about a week ago, and then that's taken off and helping the podcast go to a whole new level. So I think, the consistency, the quality, the training that you have for yourself is important to get ready for the big interviews, where if they push it out to their audience, he pushed it out to his audience, the first one, and he pushed the second one out. And that really gave me a huge reach of this, millions of people that are following him. So I think when you're ready for it, when you're prepared and you create a quality product, then you're setting yourself up to win.
When you look at all of the conversations, and I know you're on episode, I love it, you start every episode number 311. What are you at, 315 now?
312 right now, I think. Yeah, 313.
I believe that you will be at 315.
Yeah, when this is out. Yes.
Putting it out there. What would you say, and I know this is a tough question to ask in this space, is the most impactful, the most important conversation that you've had in your life? Not just the podcast, but your life, that got you to this point today?
Getting real with myself about what's always been holding me back, and getting real about my fears, my insecurities, my resentments, my angers and frustrations, and being able to express them. Before, I was never able to express them and talk about certain things that happened when I was a kid. If you listen to the podcast, I was raped as a kid when I was 5 years old, and for 25 years I kept it in silence. I locked up the secret and stored it away and never told a soul, because I was ashamed and felt guilty, felt that no one would accept me or love me if they knew this secret, this terrible thing that happened to me. And this was a few years ago, when I started to open up about it and talk about it, it created such incredible freedom for myself to not hold on to anything, to not care what people think necessarily about things that have happened in the past. And that freedom just created such ease. Now, I'm still not perfect. I still get triggered. I still get resentful of things every now and then. Like, I have patterns that are hard to break, but I'm so aware of it now. When I'm in that mood or that energy, I'm like, oh wait, I'm getting upset at someone for something completely unrelated, or I'm triggered in this moment, so let me take a step back, let me breathe, and be okay with this, and then apologize and move forward, or whatever it may be. But before, it was just like, nope, it's my way. You're wrong, I'm right. You're attacking me, so I'm going to be defensive. And now I'm just like, no.
And when you look at the idea of conversations, not only making every conversation count, but maximizing your return on conversations. I love this question that you introduced with Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
But if it's an intern, if it's a CEO, if it's a Tony Robbins, if it's one of our great guys behind the cameras here, what do you do to maximize every conversation and maximize that return for the moment and the possible insight you can learn?
There's things that every man and woman can do for free at any moment that can change anyone's experience. It can change their day and their life. And it's like to show them how much they matter by looking at them and smiling. And we don't connect enough. We don't look in each other's eyes enough. You know, specifically men, it's hard for men to really fully connect and look in someone's eyes. I mean, ask yourself the question, when was the last time I looked in someone's eyes, a stranger, for 10 seconds without moving away? Just ask yourself that question. Can you remember the last time you did that with a complete stranger when you met them? You looked them in the eyes and you smiled for 10 seconds.
That could go both ways, though. That could be creepy on the street.
It could be very creepy.
This guy's staring at me.
Absolutely. And I'm not just saying to stare and like, say I'm only going to stare at you, but
It's a
looking when you
fine line.
connect. Looking when you connect. There's an art to it. You know, looking when you connect, you know, dancing in the conversation. But most people don't even look in each other's eyes. You know, it's a quick look. It's not like, good to see you, and smile. Just like even a second or two could change someone's day. So I find that when we are able to connect and look in each other's eyes and smile, that means with everyone. We have the opportunity to connect with anyone when we're going out to eat, the janitor to the CEO. Smile, connect, and show them that they matter.
Hey, it's Riaz. Thanks for watching. For more conversations, click on subscribe and check us out online at everyconversationcounts.com.